Thank you all for attending this session. This is kind of something I've been putting in the works for quite a bit. More on that later. But the main topic for this hour is going to be working with Premiere and some tricks and tips that I found useful if you need to create some social media. I'm not going to say that I'm a social media expert, but I did have some observations as my own user of social media, and so I want to kind of share those with you. And of course, researching and looking for some topics on this. So let's get this started here. For those who do not know who I am, my name is Anthony. I worked for Lumenbright for quite a long time, started in 2003. The main role of the company is going to be, yes, instructor, right? Of course, content, creator in terms of websites and applications and videos and stuff. But dabbling with Adobe products, Macromedia products for quite a while. So I got some cool knowledge to share with you guys. Anyways, moving on here, kind of pushing through this. So what is this office hours thing that I kind of started off with? Some of you, I had actually sent out an email kind of explaining it, and then you probably received an email from one of our other instructors. But this is a passion project that I started this year. I've been kind of involved with another project last year, and we had office hours, and this gave an opportunity for those who were using a specific program to kind of ask questions and learn, and kind of get moving forward with their programs and with their applications. I thought it was kind of boring at first because it was just like, hey, you guys come into a space and ask questions, and then nobody had questions, and it was kind of difficult. And so I thought maybe if I just show something cool and then maybe have some questions at the end, that would kind of break the ice and allow people to, participate in this type of meeting space. And so that's the goal of this. Also to build community. I feel like I see some people here that I've trained before. Denise, Chris out there in St. Louis, Nick in Texas. Just to name a few. And so it's kind of nice to have that banter, if you will, and communication, and kind of share some thoughts and ideas. So the idea of this is going to be, I'm going to show you something cool. It may take like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then at the end we can have some FAQs, whether it be about the subject that I talked about some other tools. We'll play by ear when we get towards the end of that session. If I go a little long, it's okay. There's another office hours a little down the line. So we've committed up to, I think, like 4 office hours. It doesn't mean that that's the only ones we're going to have for the year. I think we're going to test this out and see how it goes. So your feedback is going to be greatly appreciated at the end in the eval session. Let us know what you think. Is this going to be something useful? Is it going to be something that you find you're going to be attending more of? Anyways, we'll talk about that more when we get to that section and go from there. So let's get started. The content. I was trying to think about, did I want to just show Premiere and how to use certain features that I think were very beneficial to creating social media content? And I thought yes, but let's also add a little bit of stuff to in terms of the content that you're creating. And so I just put some bullet points here for us to discuss, and then we'll jump into Premiere and talk about it. So first, content tips, right? Our attention span is slowly shortening, and so short and sweet, right? I think there's like a recommended time, like 30 seconds to a minute. I know there's certain durations that you can add for different platforms. Like TikTok can do like 3 minutes or 10 minutes of recording. Instagram recommends 3 minutes. But anyways, short and sweet, to the point. Make sure that you grab your user's attention, squirrel, and make it interesting, right? Authentic. And so, looking at my daily death scroll of the gram, I find myself, gravitating towards people that I feel either have, one, information to share with me, two, it's funny. Dogs and cats are usually a pretty good one. But also just something that are unique and, kind of authentic in terms of what they're trying to produce. So an example of that, let me bring up some here. Here's my Instagram here. Samwise. This guy is a 41-year-old skater that posts his videos. He was actually a used car salesman, and he would record some of his sessions on lunch break. and he's blown up. I mean, he's got 63,000 followers. Different organizations, different companies are sending him boards and shoes, and it's really cool to see it. I'm 41 as well, and so I can kind of relate to this. It's hard to do anything when you're getting up in age, and so to see this guy kind of be successful, kind of makes me want to root for him. And kind of jealous too that he gets all this cool stuff. So grab your attention, be authentic. I think those are crucial things. And again, if you are working for a company, you're going to post social media content for companies, you know, that's also important. Being authentic, making sure that you're not just trying to sell something, because in the end, we're all trying to sell something, but at least, give some value to the user and to those that are viewing your content. Anyways, if you want to check him out, he's pretty fun. Uh, Find your audience, right? Who are you trying to, attract? Who are you trying to share this information with? It's kind of funny. One of the things that I kind of follow on Instagram is not even something that I'm really interested in, but the way he promotes things was kind of interesting. These little pop darts. Right now, he's on day 99 of trying to land a pop dart over his roof onto a table onto this little tiny platform. And it's like, what? And it was kind of cool. And so, if you like that kind of stuff, trick shots and, it's kind of interesting to, find your niche, make it interesting, not, the same as everything else, find your audience and, make sure you provide content to them. Consistency is also important. And I am guilty for this, right? I know, throughout the years working with Lumen Bright, we've tried to, have some tutorials out there and have type of brand information, and we're guilty of it. We had some good runs where we were putting out videos every other week, and then we kind of just got lazy and stopped doing it. But if you're consistent, it'll kind of offer you, the algorithm will promote your content a lot more. Like I know for me on Saturdays after my skate sesh, I come home and I watch the Corridor Digital Crew, and they have some CGI React videos, and it's kind of cool to see. I'm in that industry, CGI video content, and it's interesting to see how videos, either make some cool stuff or make some goofs, and they kind of break it down and talk about how things are built, and it's kind of neat. One of the things that you can do, if you use Adobe products, they actually have a calendar to kind of promote your stuff and keep you on task. And so through Adobe Express, you go to the scheduler here. And if you're doing this for personal, it's great. If you're doing it for professional, I mean, you probably want to do something a little bit more, I guess paid for and more professional looking. But this is great. You can create a calendar of posts, kind of schedule them, and then when you're ready, it'll push that up to your platform and have it ready to go. So you can go in there and plan it out, kind of look at a month in advance, 2 months in advance, kind of figure out what's going to go on, and then put that out there to the world. So it's a pretty cool tool. It's free. I mean, you already pay for it if you have your Adobe account. Might as well use it. And then, finally, subtitles. Sometimes people are looking at videos where they should not be, and you want to share their content. But, also accessibility, right? There's audiences in all different facets, whether it's somebody who's going to watch the video with it muted, somebody who, can't hear and they want to see subtitles. There's different ways to add that content to your video. And so I'll definitely show you that in Premiere, whether you want to burn it in, make it a CC button to push to watch, it's there. Adobe Tools offers some stuff for us to use, right? I did mention one, Adobe Express. Adobe Express is very kind of basic. Allows you to kind of do certain things, take video, kind of compress into something else. They do have a simple editing tool, so you can go in there and kind of make some adjustments and edits. They have a really fun animating tool. There's a tool out there called Character Animator. I don't know, Nick, if you hear Nick, remember that one. Character Animator just allows you to create your own kind of illustration of a character, and then you create your own rig, and then it'll follow your webcam, and as you move your head, the character moves head. Anyways, they have that too in Adobe Express. It's the same guy who creates the same characters. I forget his name, but it's the same characters. You record your voice, you throw it up there, you pick a character, pick a background. It's kind of fun. I don't know, you could probably use it. Adobe Rush I don't know about this one. For a long time, they didn't have it for Android, and I'm an Android user, and so maybe I'm a little jaded, but it's a cool concept. You record on your phone, you can edit on your phone, similar to CapCut and other mobile apps. But the benefit of this is it actually gets pushed up to Premiere. So if you like your cut and you're doing it on your mobile device and you're like, you know what, I want to go ahead and open up Adobe Premiere, you can save it to your Creative Cloud account. It opens that sequence up inside of Premiere, and then you can continue edit and add more features from there. So it's cool. Do I use it a lot? I've used it a couple times, specifically, with higher frame rate on my phone, and I wanted to slow it down and had a really cool speed ramping options. That was fun, but the tool of choice, of course, is going to be Premiere. So being able to use that and make my stuff and put it online. So another thing too, those content tips here. Let me let Dana in here. Here we go. Another thing that we want to think about is all the platforms. And so I kind of quickly put this out there. You might want to take a snapshot. Actually, we have it recording, so go back and visit it. But I went and found the top brands, platforms to upload your video, and I just quickly took down what their limitations are, what their size are, what their aspect ratio is, and so here they are right now. So TikTok, 1080 by 1920, so vertical platform. They say 60 minutes is the length of upload video. So if you want to put an hour long video for some reason up on TikTok, you have to upload it. If you're going to record and edit within their app, I think it's 10 minutes. So that's pretty neat. Instagram, again, the 16, 9 by 16. They have other sizes, but they're more for like posts. So if you want to include some photography, some graphics, it's like 1:1 or 4:5 settings. So 1080 by 1080, 1350 by 1080 will be the sizes. But specifically for Reels, it's going to be 9 by 16 aspect ratio. So again, the vertical length, 1080 by 1920. Again, 3 minutes is the length of those videos through their editor, but you can upload larger ones if you want to. And then the Book of Faces. I don't know anybody who's still a Book of Faces here, but they have a lot of options. And it's kind of similar to YouTube. You don't have to upload a reel. You can upload video to your feed. And so that can be in different flavors. One thing I found it was kind of interesting is that they actually had a limitation in size. So 1280 by 720. So 720p is kind of weird, but I guess that makes sense if you have, tons and tons of users uploading stuff. You kind of want to limit the size of that content. Anyways, 240 minutes videos, right? 90-second reels if you want to put up on the Book of Faces. And of course, YouTube is the beast. The beast. All different sizes, right? 4K, I think 8K was on there, but you need to have some really good internets for that. So 3840 by 2160 down to, I forget, it was like 480 by something. What's really nice about YouTube is that it compresses it for you for different sizes, so that if you have different connection speeds or screen sizes, it'll kind of offer up the best video for that screen, which is kind of nice. But anyways, 12 hours. Can you believe that? 12 hours? Who's going to upload 12 hours? It's those Yule log videos that somebody created, right? So create a Yule log, put it up there, and you put it on your TV and you pretend you have a fireplace. It's kind of sad. Anyways, so these are the different platforms, the different sizes, which is fantastic. Anyways, moving on here. So now we can get into Premiere. Those are just some concepts, some ideas, some tips. Let's go ahead and open up Premiere and talk about what we can do inside of this tool to make it, some social media content. Anyways, jump to here. So this is Premiere. If you had, a Rush project, I was talking about earlier, you can see down here at the bottom, there is an open Rush project. And so that'll connect to your Adobe account. And what that'll do is it'll go ahead and pull in that sequence. And then from there, you can make your edits further if you're going to be doing the mobile route. If you're going to be creating a project, just like everything else, you create a new project. And then here, I thought this was kind of interesting. Let me escape this real quick and go back to Premiere. I've always skipped this. And, I found this out and I was like, wow, this is pretty neat. They actually have some templates for social media projects. And what this does is it gives you some starter sequences with an overlay. And what does that mean? So if I click on this project here, go ahead and save it into this folder. We'll just call this social media. It's right in the right spot because I tested this out. Give it a second here. I should have skipped this part. Here we go. But look at this. Here in my project panel, it gives me all these different sizes for different platforms. That's really cool. And so look at that. Facebook Reels, 1080 by 1920. Instagram Vertical, 1080 by 1920. Not only does it give you that sequence that's already built and ready to go, if I open this sequence up, look at this. It added a track with these overlays, and it gives me a little bit of instructions on what to do, right? Also, where certain things will be placed. And what does that mean? If you ever upload a video to one of these platforms, you'll notice that they have things like and share, so you can view that person and more videos that they have to offer. And so all these little interactive buttons are kind of already placed on an overlay so you know where things sit. And that's pretty cool, right? You can say, hey, if I put information in this space, I know that something's going to cover it and it's going to cause some problems for my stuff. And so you can prevent yourself from adding important content to that area and keep all your main focus on the middle portion of your video. So that's pretty cool, right? So if I import just a graphic here, oops, wrong hotkey here. And let's just bring the screenshot that I took to my face. I can see that I've already kind of made a mistake. My captions were a little too big. They're kind of overlaying underneath or being placed underneath these buttons within Instagram, and I want to be very careful with that. You know, question. I've been importing overlays myself every time. It's a game changer. Yeah, so it's nice to know that these are there. Now, I am, even though I use Adobe products and I'm an instructor for Adobe for so long and whatnot, there are certain things that I still, request that they would fix and do. They shouldn't have these as a template file just for Premiere. I mean, you should be able to import these from like a shared library or something and then put them on there. But anyways, I digress. They're there for you to use. So no more guessing. I mean, I know I took a lot of those values for you and put them on there. You could also Google it if you need to, but look at that. They're right there for us to use. We can just open them up, go to town, edit our video, maybe put this on a different track. When you're done, hide it, export, and you're ready to go. So that's pretty neat. So that's just first number tip. Templates in Premiere is pretty cool. Let me close this project out and we get to our main presentation here. So this is a project, kind of give you some idea of what this is. This is a video tutorials that I'm trying to create for our products. This one specifically for Captivate. The new version of Captivate came out. I'm just kind of adding some videos, kind of gonna get my name out there as an expert for Captivate. Anyways, so in making these videos, there was a couple of things that I kind of ran into I thought would be interesting to share to you. So I put a couple of sequences with some topics, and so let's take a look at those. So the first one I want to talk about is this, text-based timeline editing, and I thought this was fantastic. This is like super cool. If you don't use the transcription options and the caption options in Premiere that they added, I think maybe 2 years ago, you're missing out. First off, they created a new workspace. It's called text-based editing. And so what this does is it will open up a panel that you can transcribe your footage in. It'll give you a readout of your dialogue. And then from there, you can do a couple things. One, you can search for text in your videos and you can find certain spots. So if you said something interesting, you can go in there, highlight it, and drop it to your timeline. Two, you can do a quick edit. This was something that I think one of my past students, I forgot to invite them, forgive me, but he was doing some podcasting stuff. And with podcasting, he was running into a problem where the person would say a lot of ums, a lot of filler words, and eh. And so what you could do is you could use filtering for filler words, and then you can basically remove those with a touch of a button and get rid of all those little pieces of content. Anyways, really super cool. Let's take a look at it. I'm getting excited. So text-based editing goes to here. It's a weird layout. I don't know if I like it, but it is what it is. The way it works is that we can open up any video that we want. Let's say, say this one here. I open up this video, and over here on the left in your text panel, we can transcribe this. And so it'll send this up to, I don't have this set up for my name or whatever, but it's fine. It's no separate speakers. It's just me alone in a room recording videos. You can hit transcribe, and it's going to start looking at the audio. It's going to start analyzing it, and it's going to give me a transcription of this video. So give it a few seconds to do that. Here we go. And while that's opening, I'm going to open up a bin here. Okay. And there you go. Look at this. It went ahead and transcribed. It's not perfect. Okay. It's better. I remember back, I remember back in 2000, 2007, 2008, Premiere had this metadata panel that's kind of similar to what the text panel is. And it was awful. You would do an analyze, it would spit out a transcription for you, and it was just awful, and it wasn't worth using, and I would never really show it because it was just terrible. But now this is actually pretty good. I'm going to say it's about 85 to 90% accurate. If you have really clear, yeah, dialogue, and you don't mumble or slur your words like I do sometimes, it'll do a pretty good job, and it'll pick it up. And so you can go through, and as you click through these different words, it'll actually take you right to that part of the video, and I can, look at it. I can jump to that spot. If you've taken Premiere classes with me in the past, I had you add markers to this. I mean, we can even get away from that now. You could read your entire interview project and just select certain parts of it and then just drop it to the timeline. That's freaking cool. But wait, there's more. Up at the top, they have a lot of buttons, and I'm kind of guilty of this. I kind of skipped a lot of these cool buttons to push, but they're really, really neat. And so if I hit this little filter icon, I can look for pauses, I can look for filler words, I can add some search settings, and I can look for all those things within my project and even say, hey, find pauses that are a certain length, and which is pretty neat. And so as I go through my transcription, I can find these different elements and get rid of them, which is pretty cool. And I'll show you that in a second. Anyways, if I go over here and let's say I want to add certain things, maybe, it took a while to get my intro here. So maybe if I do a search for text and I do like in Adobe Captivate, you can see that it found a couple of in Adobe Captivates. I can go through and find those sections. Maybe in this quick tutorial, I want to go ahead and add this intro to my timeline. I can essentially highlight this section and then just insert overlay or insert overwrite right into my timeline. So wherever my CTI is at, let me put this over here. Okay, there we go. So it was wigging out on me a little bit. I highlight what I want to add. I hit insert, boop, and it'll add that clip right to my timeline. I don't know if you guys got goosebumps, but when I first saw this, I was like, wow, that is pretty amazing. I can just go in there and highlight certain things and just build my project just like that. And I can add that quickly. I can go ahead and build my project just by using words versus watching it, cutting it, in and out points, and adding to it. This might be a game changer here. I might be changing up the way I do my Premiere classes by using this because this is super, super cool. But not only that, I talked about taking your video and looking for certain things and subtracting it. And so here again, I go to my timeline here, and this video has already been transcribed, and so here it is. And again, I can start looking and filtering out certain things. If I hit the filter icon and look for pauses, you'll see that it found all these pauses in my project. Now, again, this is like a long take, and I went through my script, and then I messed up, and then I started over again. So instead of just It was one person gig, okay, one person job, and I had my phone right there pushing the start and record button on my camera. So that, it was very difficult to start and record the camera. So instead of doing that, I just let it run. But anyways, here you can see it found all the pauses and there's a delete button. So if I give this a click here, I can delete either selected instances of those pauses or I can delete all pauses. And if I do that, boom, look at that. It went ahead and cut up and extracted all those, pauses within my timeline and removed them. And that's pretty cool. So again, if you're doing like a podcast, this is where I see it be useful. If you're doing a podcast and somebody is just like, blip, 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 having a hard time figuring out what they want to say, you could just remove it. Find filler words, right? The ums and the and. Look at that. There's a filler word there. And again, I can delete those, extract it, remove it from my dialogue, and there you go. There was a question here. Does it in the clip entire section or the words you highlight? Oh, yeah. So Ashley, you just saw that. I can delete either a selected one and hit delete, or if I were to delete all of them, we can just push that button and delete all and get rid of them. So yes, you could absolutely do that.
Oh, no, I was at, this question was for the timeline, like inserting it. So
Mhm.
like, would it insert just like the entire section or the words that you highlight specifically?
Oh yeah, you're right. The words that you highlight specifically. So if you
Okay.
had a section, yeah, you can't just click on it. So what it does is it's trying to like put thoughts, full sentences and paragraphs together. And
Mhm.
so this doesn't mean that if I just click on this section here, the entire thing's gonna. You have to still highlight it. You still have to define what's going to be inserted, and then yes,
Okay.
put it
Thank you.
in. Good question. Thank you. So again, a very, very interesting way to edit. Very, very cool that we're kind of getting away from the good old fashioned in and out points. The razor blade is just another way of getting this stuff put together. So give it a shot, try it out, see what you think. Anyways, back to here. We're doing good on time. And we'll bring up the one of the things that I was discussing about your project is to make sure that we include you know captions within your projects, but also audio. Audio is an important thing, important aspect of your project. If it's not good audio, it's going to sound terrible, right? Buying good equipment, making sure you use that equipment. The microphone on the phone can sometimes be good and sometimes it can be terrible. This is a great example of this. So again, give you some idea of what happened. I had my camera, I had my Sony A7 III on a tripod, had a ring light. You can see the specular highlight in my eyes. Look at that. Anyways, and so I had a shotgun mic on the camera. I thought that was good enough, and I hit record, and I went through my process and I recorded everything. I did my whole take. The issue that I ran into is that I forgot to turn on the shotgun mic. It happens. And I didn't record off of the shotgun mic on the camera. I recorded off the camera microphone, and I also recorded off of my laptop. So my laptop was also next to me recording audio. And what ended up happening is that the audio is awful. It's terrible. We have enough time. Yeah, we have enough time. And so let's listen to it because it's terrible. Let's see how we can assign the retake quiz and retake course option here in Adobe Captivate. Oh, that's terrible. Every time I see it, I'm like, man, I totally screw that up. And now I'm going to have to scrap this and go back to my office and set it up again and record everything. And it was one of the most frustrating, few minutes of my time here in Premiere. And I thought, okay, well, maybe I could use the tools that I've always promoted inside of Premiere to fix that. And so if you've taken Premiere classes with us or have used Adobe Premiere, there's an audio category here and you can select your audio and you can make some changes. And it helped. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't that great. And so you can do things like adjust the EQ, you have some dynamics on there. You can fix any type of hums or S's if you had it. It's okay. they added an enhanced speech option, which allows you to, at the push of a button, use their AI tools to analyze your footage and potentially fix things. And I thought, okay, maybe that'll work. So I pushed the button, I let it work. It took forever to process, and it still sounded terrible. The problem with this option here is that if you have a lot of voice inflections, and I tend to do this. I like to get really loud. I like to get really soft. I like to make things exciting, right? You're watching a video. Let me go ahead and put a performance on for you. And so one of my issues that I run into is that my audio tends to kind of, you know, fade off as I finish a thought or a sentence. And I know there's a word for it. I was going to look it up, but I didn't know it. But it's a known thing that you know people end up doing, where they kind of really have large voice inflections, and of course, specifically towards the end of a thought. And so it does a bad job with that. In fact, it'll think that it's noise, and then it'll completely wipe it out, and then boom, you're missing some words at the end of your sentence, and it's terrible. And that's what was happening to me. And so this enhanced speech is not good, and I don't like it. I don't recommend it. It's terrible. So was I out of luck? And well, you're here, and so the answer was no. Right? There are ways to fix this, and so let me show you what I did. Bad audio, it's terrible. I gotta fix it. What did I do? I went to export. I went to the MP3 format, and what I did is I basically exported my dialogue. So I'll find the MP3, right? Just the MP3. I'm gonna go ahead and put it into an export folder. We'll just put it into this one here, just so I can find it easier. I'll put it there, and then we'll render it out. Easy. So if I go to that folder, we should have that audio ready to rock and roll. So this is presentation. There's MP3. Let's see how we can assign the retake quiz and retake course option here in Adobe Captivate. Awful, right? This is awful. And so there's a really neat website, and I think you guys have seen this before. If not, it's really cool. It's called podcast.adobe.com. I'm going to put this in the chat pod so you guys can bookmark it if you like. And so the idea is that this site was kind of the precursor to the enhanced speech inside of Premiere. They're basically using this. I don't know if this is true, but I feel like they were using this to kind of test the waters and test their application before they integrate it into Premiere. But I think this is like 10 times better. You upload your audio to here. You get a simple slider to change the amount of enhancements that you add. And then you just push a button and you can download an MP3 and it sounds fantastic. So if I go to enhanced speech and I choose a file, we'll grab the file that we've just rendered out here a second ago. So there it is. No tricks up my sleeves. I don't got any sleeves anyways. And just let it run. And once it's done, we can, again, super simple sliders, nothing really too fancy. You can enhance the speech. You can reduce the background noise. And when it's done, it sounds pretty good. There we go. And here's the before. Let's see how we can assign the retake quiz and retake course option here in Adobe Captivate. It's okay, right? Enhance.
So first, let's jump to the results page. We'll select the results page, and through the interactions panel, we can assign the number of attempts. If we set,
I don't know if you guys got the goosebumps on that one, because that was freaking amazing. That saved my project. It sounds like I'm using a really expensive Shure microphone, even though I'm not. I should have brought this microphone and used that during that recording session. But again, I forgot. Sometimes I'm very forgetful. But this saves me every single time. In fact, one of my clients here, shared with me their project, and it sounds pretty good.
So how do I maintain chat control?
That's okay, right? But there's a lot of pop noises in that audio.
Start by actively listening and probing to identify and confirm the customer's need that is driving why they called or chatted. It helps establish common ground.
Oh,
it also shows the customer
there's the original.
That you know what needs to be satisfied.
And so pop filter, important. If you're going to have really good audio equipment, put a pop filter. I know I don't have one. Maybe a little fuzzball on top, and that could help out. But yeah, you run that, it clears it out, gets all that pop out, fills it in, makes it sound better. It's super, super impressive here. Enhanced speech is way better in browser than Premiere. Yeah, so Clint knows what I'm talking about. That's what you need to do. Anyways, I download this. I was a little aggressive, 90%. I don't go that high. I'm like usually like 75, 80%. I don't want to sound too fake because then it just sounds really fake. But I'll bring it in here, hit save, go back to my project, and then I'll import that audio. I'll just import it here so I can find it quickly. Did I download it? Make sure I put it in the right spot. Oh, I'll put in the presentation assets. Whoops. Here we go. MP3, import. Drop that to a new track. Let's put it there. Solo it.
So first, let's jump to the results page. Let's see how we can assign the retake quiz and retake course option here in Adobe Captivate. So first, let's jump to the results page. We'll select the results page, and through the interactions panel, we can assign the number of attempts. If we set this more than 1, we have the option to show the retake button.
Holy guacamole. So again, save the project, able to enhance the audio. If you have really good audio and you use this tool, I guarantee you're going to be pretty satisfied. So don't just listen to me, listen to Clint. He knows what he's talking about. Anyways, so it looks pretty good. So now that we have great audio, the last thing I want to do is do some closed captions. I know personally for me, in my experience, using captions and having captions on the video just makes it easier. In reality, I watch movies with captions. I'm one of those people. These people will optimize the audio and the music and everything for their movies for big screen. I want it for the big screen. They don't optimize it for DVD or Netflix playback. And so sometimes the audio is hard to listen to. It's harder to see what they're saying. And so having captions is great. So over here in the captions and graphics workspace, we can analyze and transcribe this project. I think it already did it, but let's just go ahead and generate static transcription. There we go. It's usually like a big old blue button and say transcribe project. And what it'll do is it'll go through and transcribe your entire dialogue. Now, of course, you want to go through it and watch it and make sure all the words are correct. I think it's pretty good.
Let's see how we can assign.
Oops.
Assign the retake quiz and retake course option here in Adobe Captivate. So first, let's jump to the results page. We'll select the results page, and through the interactions panel, we can assign the number of attempts.
It looks pretty good, right? So I want to use this for my captions. I don't want to have to type them out manually. I don't have to go through the process of finding exactly where it is and adding it and typing it out. I want to go through an automated process. So here under Captions tab in the same text panel, you can generate captions for transcript. So if I give that a click, you'll see here that we can generate some subtitles. Now I do recommend going through and modifying some of these settings so you can determine how long you want your closed captions to be. Do you want to have them double stacked? Do you want to have single line? There's a couple of different options to go through. Especially on a vertical video like this, you probably want to drop down the number of characters to something a little bit less than maybe 30. So that, again, we don't run into those overlays of the like, share, and subscribe buttons. We don't want that to happen. Anyways, I'll do single line at 30 characters. There's also a format here, which is pretty cool. Oops, not that one. A style format. And what this does is it allows you to create a style in your text panel, your graphics panel, so that you can apply to your closed captions. So your font that you want to use, the placement, the background color, we can go ahead and format all of those parameters on our captions as they get generated. And we definitely want to do that. Now, don't fret if you forget to do this, from the beginning. Let's say you don't create a style. It happens. It's okay. What you can do is you can, create a style after the fact. And once you create that style, it applies to your entire caption track and you're done. So let me just show you that because it's pretty cool too. So we'll create captions and you'll see it automatically uses the transcription from the last tab It brought it in. Look at that. There's all the timestamps for each caption. Look at that. Fantastic.
Let's see how we can assign the retake quiz and retake course option here in Adobe Captivate.
That's pretty good, right? Now, again, it's not great in terms of formatting. So if I go to my properties panel here in the graphics section in this workspace, I can go ahead and change where it's located. I can put some padding. Maybe I want the text to be black and with a white, surrounding around it. Maybe I want to adjust it, maybe add some drop shadows, whatever. I can go in there and make some changes for this caption. So if I were to add a background color, maybe you'll make it black, maybe add some padding around it, right? Not use Minion Pro. I don't know why Adobe likes Minion Pro, but they like Minion Pro. Maybe you want to use some Acumen regular, right? And once I've defined all these settings, I'm not going to leave it there. I know. Hold on. Give me a second. Let's put it in the middle. I don't know if I can drop it down a little bit. Do that. Yeah. I have a little bubble that comes up whoop, that I want to make sure I don't put in front of. So let's just do right about there. And let's just say I'm good with that. I can create a new style. And all this track here. Oops, cancel. I didn't create a new style. New style here. And we'll just call this captions new. And it should have applied to all of the captions within that track with that style. And so again, if I want to reuse this for another cut, or maybe I want to use this for the YouTube, I have that style in this project that I can go ahead and reuse over and over and over again. Now, I don't know if I made it perfect. Boop. Oh yeah, maybe a couple of pixels down. That'd be perfect. I'll grab that one. I think it's this one. Yeah, this one. Let's move it down just a hair. We'll update the style. And I think all of them should have been updated. Yeah, perfect. And so now all of them are updated with those settings. That's fantastic. What now with these captions, right? I need to get this out to the world and put them in our project. So if I hit export here, there are two ways to deal with captions inside of these different social media platforms. I could either burn them into the video, which I probably want for like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Reels. But then I could also create a sidecar file for YouTube, regular video content where you can press the CC button and view that. It does create an SRT file. YouTube does like the SRT file as the upload format. But if you're going to put this on your own server, you might need to use the VTT format. And so there's tools out there that will convert SRT to VTT. You just Google it, you'll be able to find it and convert those closed captions to that format. Anyways, so if I do burn captions into videos, I don't have to set anything. I choose my format, and of course we're choosing H.264. That's pretty much the standard for now. Maybe H.265, thank you iPhone, will be the setting. But until that happens, H.264 will be our format. We'll choose a location. I'll just put this in the same folder. Click save, generate this output. I'm a little lazy. I usually choose like match source, high adaptive bitrate. But if you want to go in there and change your settings, you can. Don't think it's necessary. Hit export, and now we can generate this video. And there it is. Those are the settings that you can do to do it. Look at that. Boom. Perfect. 846. It's like I meant to do it, right? And there's our video. We can upload it to the platforms. We can maybe put it in that Adobe Express calendar, make it for a certain date so that when that date comes, we can just publish it to those platforms and have it ready to go. Now you could, one last thing, just because it just crossed my mind, you could connect to your different platforms here and upload it there. I don't like that. This is just a personal feeling. I feel like if I produce the video, I'm always hesitant on publishing it and making it public. I think, I want to watch it a couple times, make sure I didn't misspell anything. I'm guilty for that. Making sure the content is correct and I'm happy with everything. Maybe I have a blank frame somewhere that I forgot to remove. I want to test it before I publish it. I know you can test it in your timeline, but I'm always kind of, But if you want to, you can. You log into your account, you put your information. It allows you to go ahead and define. I think I have Facebook configured. Yeah. You can define like the description. I think I have YouTube configured. Description, you can put your keywords, anything that you need to prepare that video to upload to those platforms. You can do that here and publish right from the push of a button from Premiere. I don't like it. If you want to do it, it's totally up to you. Anyways, there it is. And done. Questions, comments, concerns. I saw a couple of questions in the comments in here. We'll use that quiet dead time as an ending here. So please visit us on Loombright.com. We have classes scheduled throughout the year. Please check out our office hours section. Like I said, we have committed to 4 sessions, and depending on if you guys like them and are attending them and they're kind of regular thing, and we have at least 8 to 10 people in our classes, in our online office hour sessions, we're going to continue to do that. So that will be updated every once in a while. We're also going to have a place where we're going to have these videos stored. It's not quite ready yet, but when it is ready, we will let you know, and you can go find this recording. If you want my slide deck, I can upload that and get that out to you. Just know that we are changing things at lumenbright.com, and so some of that stuff is going to be available. Please check us out on stuff. Also, before we let you guys go, there's a little eval. I know it's not really a class, this is more of a presentation, but I want to know some feedback. Did you like this? Did you not like this? Was the content too fast? Was it too slow? Was the guy's room not roomy enough? I know there's some questions here that don't relate to what we did, but please, fill that out. Let us know if you like this. It greatly appreciate it. Let me put that link in your chat pod, Lumenbright/eval. Fill that out before you leave for the day. It takes like 2 seconds. Here we go. We would greatly appreciate that and get your feedback from there. Thank you. And then finally, if you want to contact me, there's my email. You guys probably received my email already. If you want to follow me and watch my dumb little skate videos, I'm just kidding. I post little skate videos on my Instagram. I should put our Lumenbright YouTube channel on there. We are adding some tutorials. I have some in the mix. And so we're trying to get those out and trying to get that information to you guys. So anyways, I'll stick around to the last person. If you want to kind of ask questions and greet and whatnot, let me know. If not, we'll hopefully see you next month in our next session. I think the next session is going to be about screen printing. I won't be doing that one, but it's basically setting up, your Illustrator file for, color separation. And that's a pretty interesting one.